Hi, this is Byron Stripling with the Columbus Jazz Orchestra, and we're happy that this week we're celebrating two great artists and beyond, the great Dave Brubeck and the great Bacharach. And those concerts happen October 24th, Thursday at 7:30. Don't come in late, I'll call you out. And also Friday the 25th at 8 p.m., Saturday the 26th at 8 p.m., and Sunday we're at 3 p.m. And don't forget to come a little early. You can see the CJO, the Columbus Youth Jazz Orchestra. But I'm here today with a couple of the guys that are going to be involved in the concert. And I first want to introduce you to one of the great, well, this guy's a multi-instrumentalist. Drums, trumpet, arranger, piano, anything else you want to add? Flutophone.
Just get name things, man. Maybe they'll call me more often.
I'll do anything you want to call him for, he will do. But he's going to be helping us do some of the vocal things. And one of the things that we found is we made sort of comparisons with Brubeck and Bacharach. We were trying to figure out what was going on during that period of time. And there was a singer during that period of time that was emerging, and that's the great Mel Torme. So we'll also do a little tribute using Dave, and this is Dave Pruyn, by the way, and I want you to applaud him there on the YouTube. And I want to ask you, first of all, how did you get into, do you hear him? All right, there you go. That's it, yeah.
That's what I was waiting for, man.
Tell us how you got into sort of paying your little tribute to Mel, and you'll do other stuff too for us, but just tell us about how'd you get into sort of tribute to Mel and all that.
I actually had the pleasure and the privilege of working for Mel Torme years ago as a trumpet player. But it was funny that at the time I wasn't even thinking about becoming a singer, but maybe 10 years later, I was doing a cruise on one of the Cunard ships, and I was hanging out with a piano player late at night after we did a show, and we started talking about old tunes, and I made me think of some tunes that I like to listen to Mel Torme sing, and we started kicking some of those around. And we did one that I knew the lyric to, and I sang along with him, and we got done, and he said, do you ever think about taking this seriously? So when I got back to Orlando, where I was living at the time, I started introducing that into some of the jobs I was doing in town. And one thing led to another, and people said, man, you really have a flair for that Mel Torme style, which was a great compliment to me. And a couple of years after he passed, which was in 1999, I decided that maybe it would be a good idea to try to put together a little tribute in remembrance of him and the way that he worked. Right. So I was very fortunate to make connections with some very talented rhythm section guys, pianists and bassists, and we put together the trio format, which is how he worked the last few years of his life, for the most part. And we started trying to replicate the arrangements that he did, transcribing, and we put the thing together, and we put it on its feet at a theater in St. Petersburg called the Palladium, and it went over. So
yeah, it went over big, and,
well,
and everybody I know that was at that concert or seen this video went crazy about it. One more quick question for you. When we were talking about the concert, you were adamant you wanted to do some Brubeck too, so you're doing in your own sweet way, but yes. Then also you're going to do something that's rarely heard. You're going to sing the lyrics to Take 5. Did you know those before this concert, or did you learn them for this concert?
You know, I checked out Al Jarreau singing that. Well, I checked out Al Jarreau singing a lot of things. Yeah. But during my investigation of some of Al's things, I happened to come upon Take 5. Now, I didn't think that I would be performing it, but I was happy that I paid attention, because now I've got a little bit of a foothold on what I'm supposed to do with it, but I think it's going to be fun. It's fun. It's a fun lyric. I don't know that I can really pull it off quite the way Al does. I'm not that much of a vocal gymnast, you know, as he is. But we'll go right down the middle with it, and it'll be fun. Well, something in 5/4, which
we've already had a chance to, so I can just jump in there. We've already had a chance to perform it one time, and the audience went crazy over your performance. So please look for David Pruyn there. He's going to blow your socks off when you get to hear him. Sitting to my left is one of our old friends, and when I say old, I mean old. very, very old. In fact, he's on his Social Security right now, and starting pension pretty soon. And he has a cane over in the corner there, and it's just but also one of our favorites, and we love this man so much. Many of you who were at our concert last October will remember a cute young man named Gerald Clayton. Well, we got Daddy Clayton here. Some call him Grandpa Clayton here. And he's going to help us celebrate Burt Bacharach and David Brubeck. Let's start with Brubeck first. You're going to close the concert with some Brubeck. How did that come about?
Well, Dad, I was commissioned by the Monterey Jazz Festival to put together something around Dave Brubeck's pieces to feature our Clayton Jazz Orchestra. And the thing that both the director of the festival, Tim Jackson, and myself were in complete agreement on was, let's do some Dave Brubeck numbers that people really don't know, that are, or maybe they are just not as familiar with, that sort of thing. So we dug into this drawer of amazing Dave Brubeck works. I mean, I think I listened to over 50 unknown Dave Brubeck works, and it was really a challenge to just pick out 9 or 10 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be featuring the Columbus Jazz Orchestra on one of his, again, lesser-known works that's fantastic, called Maori Blues.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we'll end. It's a very exciting kind of a 6/8, 12/8, almost African influence way to end the program. So that's how that all came about.
Well, it's so great to have you with that association with Brubeck, having just composed that, and we'll close with that. But then let's talk about the Bacharach component of it. You worked with one of the greatest piano players in the world on music with a pop star, the great, Burt Bacharach. The pianist was McCoy Tyner. Was that weird for you to put that pairing of a jazz musician with a pop artist? And one of the great, this guy is known for his work, not only his own work, but his work with John Coltrane on the most important Coltrane records. And then you put that with a pop artist like Bacharach. Was that difficult to make that? And was it intimidating to work with a guy like McCoy Tyner?
Intimidating, I think it was more a constant pinch me moment.
Yeah.
Can't believe I'm here. That's McCoy Tyner.
Yeah,
it was kind of like that. So it was a huge honor, of course, too, because I worshipped him and listened to his records growing up. So now to finally be able to do this and to do a huge project with him, the challenge was finding those common grounds, because Burt Bacharach's songs are written, first of all, with the voice in mind.
Yeah.
If he needs an extra couple of beats to finish a phrase, he'll just throw it in because it makes sense in terms of the lyric.
Yeah.
And then if you use that same format to improvise on, it can be a little bit tricky. So there was that element that McCoy and I had to kind of grapple over, and we just had to figure it out. How's this going to work? And also, for me, how can I help McCoy to maintain his voice?
Right. Yeah.
Because as you pointed out, when you think of McCoy Tyner, you think of his own incredible records and all those wonderful things he did with people like John Coltrane.
Right.
So there's if I want to write a certain sound, a certain style, sometimes on the piano part, I will write things like a la McCoy. And every piano player that's done his or her homework knows the kind of sound, kind of attack, kind of style that we're looking for just by writing those words. It's like on a drum part, if you write a la Elvin, every drummer's going to know, okay, I know what this is going to be about. So how do you find that common denominator that links McCoy Tyner and his special sound and his style to Burt Bacharach, which of course is Burt Bacharach's style, and that was the challenge. Sometimes I wish I had a second chance, because I think I want I've had some afterthoughts like, what I could have done instead. And luckily I get to do that.
What was interesting in rehearsal is, and I don't want, but this is fun stuff. Now, Bobby Floyd is our McCoy Tyner, and he's one of the great handles in the world. And it's interesting to watch. One of the things that you told me from the beginning is, Bobby's just going to be Bobby. Like we want, because I know you love Bobby, and everybody loves Bobby. So I don't want him to be McCoy. I want him to be Bobby, and I want to hear his voice. Exactly. Second thing I heard you say in rehearsal was interesting, because you talked about Bert's thing with the voice, and it's written for. As you told Bobby, when you play this melody on Alfie, I want you to be like a singer. Mm-hmm. Like I wanted you to sing it. So that was. Yeah. Was that the way you were approached with McCoy also, or?
You know what? I think that maybe I was a little intimidated. Maybe there was just so much going on. I didn't latch on to that one idea to suggest to McCoy. I was already a little hesitant to suggest anything to McCoy Tyner.
Right.
But I tried to do the opposite. I really tried to see how he would do it, how he would interpret it on his own.
Yeah.
And I kind of went with that. I think my relationship with him, has grown since then. So I might suggest to him now what I had suggested to Bobby. But the thing that I've learned the more I've done this is if I always think about the melody and I always think about someone singing it, 98% of the time I'm on the right track. And especially with a song that has a melody to it, even if you don't know that lyric, it has a lyric to it, even if you don't know that lyric, even if you don't know that text, just by approaching it from a text kind of concept, you're so many more miles ahead of it. So that's helped me as an arranger and composer, doing it that way. So I hope that, I noticed immediately that Bobby, being the amazing piano player that he is, he immediately understood what I meant.
Yep.
And immediately played it differently.
Right.
And more the way I wanted.
Well, that's a sort of a small picture of what you're going to get at this concert, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be incredible. If you like Alfie, if you like Walk On By, if you like Do You Know the Way to San Jose, if you like Take 5, if you like In Your Own Sweet Way, this is the concert for you. The gentlemen sitting next to me are absolutely incredible artists who will paint the stage with glory and majesty of Burt Bacharach and Dave Brubeck. You must be there Thursday, October 24th, Friday the 25th, Saturday the 26th, Sunday the 27th. We look forward to seeing you there. These are masters. The Columbus Jazz Orchestra with them, it's dynamite on stage. We look forward to seeing you this week.